Conversationalists all across the fruited plain, it is great to have you here today. Great to be with you. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network, and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Studies of All Things That Matter. Telephone number 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. We're going to do a version of Open Line Friday today, Mr. Snerdley. Whatever people want to call about, whatever they want to ask about, whatever they want to say anything about, let them have at it. And it's since we're not going to be here on Friday, this is in fact the last program of the year for me. And folks, I want to tell you at the outset here, to me, this is a very important program. I have very much that I want to say to all of you today. And I'm feeling very pressured. Not pressured, I'm feeling stage fright kind of thing. So much I want to say, and I want to say it correctly. I want to convey my feelings. And I want to do it right. I want to do it to the best of my ability. And I have found in circumstances like this that the best thing to do is not to think about it. Don't make it more pressure-packed than it already is. But it's very important. You all are very important. My family is very important to me. I've had a year now to reflect on the things that really matter. A year to reflect on the things that are completely relevant and important to me. And all of you are in that large conglomeration of people and things that are very important to me. I want to go back. Normally, by the way, I wait until the third hour of the program to. As I've always said that I usually use the Christmas program, such as this one, to engage in my thank yous and my thankfulness for the year, rather than at Thanksgiving. And I don't know why, something about Christmas. My childhood memories of it, the families getting together and the children making it what it was. My feelings of thankfulness always surface. My feelings of great gratitude always surface at the Christmas time of year. And it's no different this year. Now, in January of this year, toward the end of the month, I received a diagnosis. You all know, but there's something I want to say about it. Stage 4, advanced lung cancer, terminal diagnosis. The objective of everybody involved was to extend life for as long as possible, as enjoyably as possible. Now, many of you have been through this. Lots of you have been through this, as individuals, as families. And you know what that means. Medical treatment that is designed to attack the disease as greatly as possible while maintaining a quality of life that makes it worth it. Some people can't deal with the side effects of chemo or other forms of treatment. Well, back in late January, when I received this diagnosis, and I was shocked. I was stunned and I was in denial for about a week. I mean, I'm Rush Limbaugh. I'm Mr. Big, the vast right-wing conspiracy. I mean, I'm indestructible. This can't be right. But it was. And what I didn't know at the time, that I learned later in the course of the year, was that I wasn't expected to be alive today. I wasn't expected to make it to October, and then to November, and then to December. And yet, here I am. And today, I've got some problems, but I'm feeling pretty good today. God's with me today. God knows how important this program is to me today. And I'm feeling natural in terms of energy, normal in terms of energy. And I'm feeling entirely capable of doing it today. I have been blessed. I mentioned to all of you back in the early days, sometime, I guess, this might have been in February. It was, I think, either during or shortly after I had received the Presidential Medal of Freedom at this year's State of the Union address by President Trump in the House chamber. By the way, something I really hope that he had a marvelous speech last night, 4-minute speech on the COVID relief debacle coming out of the Congress that should be studied in a master's course in communication. It was clear, it was concise, it was well-paced, it was powerful, it was on brand, and it was classic. It was the kind of speech only an outsider could have made. And I really hoped that Trump would sit down and start ripping up the bill as Pelosi ripped up his speech. You know, when she began to rip up his speech is when he began the presentation of the medal to me, seated next to his wife, the First Lady Melania, and I turned my back to her, which is proper. She was the one who actually put the medal around my neck. And I thought it would be great if Trump would have ripped up that bill, but he didn't. And that's understandable as well. But I remember saying to all of you at that time that I had a little bit of understanding of something that had perplexed me for a lot of my life, and that was Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, New York Yankees, set the record for consecutive games played until Cal Ripken came along decades later and broke it. And on the day that Ripken, or the day that Lou Gehrig announced that he had his disease that was forcing him to retire from Major League Baseball, he said to the sold-out Yankee Stadium, "Today I feel like the luckiest man on the face of the earth." And I didn't understand that. I mean, here's a guy who had just been diagnosed with the most terminal of terminal diseases. And I said, this can't be real. You can't really think he's the luckiest guy in the world. This is just something that he's saying because it will play well. I don't mean to be insulting Lou Gehrig. Don't misunderstand. I'm just thinking that how in the world, if you're being honest, can you feel like you're the luckiest man on the face of the earth? Well, when I got my diagnosis and when I began to receive all of the outpouring of love and affection from everywhere in my life, from so many of you in so many ways, and from my family who, and they have supported me my entire career, even during times it would have been understandable and easy for them to say, "Rush who? We don't know this guy." But that never happened. I mean, I've been totally supported by virtually everybody in my family. I've been propped up, I've been defended, I've been made to look better than I am. My lovely wife, Catherine, has done so much in that regard. She has done so much with Limbaugh.com and with the charitable efforts that we have engaged in, and all of it has been to my benefit. All of it has been for and yours. It's the benefit of people who are the recipients of our efforts. So many people have put me first in all of this, and I understand now what Lou Gehrig meant, because I certainly feel like that. I feel extremely fortunate and lucky. And because I have outlived the diagnosis, I've been able to receive and hear and process some of the most wonderful, nice things about me that I might not have ever heard had I not gotten sick. Again, think how many people who pass away never hear the eulogies, never hear the thank yous. I've been very lucky, folks, and I can't tell you how many ways. When this kind of thing befalls you, it's hard not to become self-focused. It's hard to not just think of yourself, and it's hard to think that everybody's going to drop what they're doing and deal with me, with you. You have to guard against that, because this is, to the family, this is as disrupting, it's as upsetting as it is to me, and in some cases even more so. So I can't be self-absorbed about it when that is the tendency, when you are told that you've got a due date. You have an expiration date. A lot of people never get told that, and so they don't face life this way. This is not a complaint. I'm simply, this is why I say it's so much I want to say today, and so much I want to say well, so much I want to say exactly as I'm feeling it. Because my point in all of this today is gratitude. My point in everything today that I share with you about this is to say thanks, and to tell everybody involved how much I love you from the bottom of a sizable and growing and still beating heart. And there's room for much more. All because I've learned what love really is during this. You know, I have a philosophy. There's good that happens in everything. It may not reveal itself immediately, and even in the most dire circumstances, if you just wait, if you just remain open to things, the good in it will reveal itself. And that has happened to me as well, in countless ways. You know, I mentioned Catherine. Don't misunderstand. She's done much more than just redesign a website and shepherd the RushLimbaughDec store. She shepherded the charitable efforts, the Betsy Ross, Stand Up for Betsy Ross. That amount of money we generated for the Tunnel to Towers organization, just incredible stuff. And it was all done for me. Well, and the beneficiaries of the charity, it was all done for me. All of this was done for me. So many people have done things this year for me. And it's not embarrassing. It's just gratifying. And it has helped me to see so much, so clearly, about the goodness of people and their decency. And it's confirmed so much of my instinctive beliefs about people. For example, the alleged president-elect Joe Biden holiday message: our darkest days are ahead of us. Well, for some of us, that's absolutely true. But folks, I have to tell you, if I were president-elect of the country, it's the last thing I would say. And even if I believed it, I doubt that I would put it this way. But I don't believe this anyway. Darkest days are ahead of us. What a bleak way of looking at things. This is during a press briefing yesterday. I said the worst is yet to come in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Which is weird, given that Biden has repeatedly claimed that it's Trump who's killing Americans with COVID. And so Trump's going to be gone soon, so why are our darkest days ahead of us when Trump is leaving, if Trump's responsible for all of this? But my point is, yeah, the virus is what it is, but we adapt. I talked about this yesterday. We Americans have adapted to our problems. We've adapted to changing evolutionary things in our lives, in our country, because of our freedom. Our freedom has allowed our adaptability. If disaster is coming our way, we don't just sit there and endure it. We come up with ways to avoid it, to beat it back, to overcome it, but we don't just sit there and accept it. And as such, we don't. And welcome back, Rush Limbaugh, and the end of the year broadcast here at the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. So great to have you with us, my friends. Thank you for today and every other day that you have been part of this growing, astounding audience. The largest, the greatest audience in American commercial talk radio history. Now, politically speaking, Trump goes out, 4-minute video from the White House, saying the hell with this, $600 the average American, while listing all of the pork, all the money going to all these countries for crazy things. $15 million to repair a patrol boat in Sri Lanka, and other ridiculous things. And so Pelosi immediately comes out and agrees with Trump. We need to have $2,000 or $4,000 per couple, rather than this measly $600. Why would she do that? Why would she not come out and criticize Trump for this? Because politically, he crushed her. I guarantee you that I don't think Pelosi or any other Democrat had the slightest idea that Trump would react this way. They still don't know how outsiders think. They still don't know who Trump really is. They're not interested in finding out. Trump did what no other Republican managed to do. And he did it brilliantly in 4 minutes. He showed America who and what Nancy Pelosi and her Democrat colleagues are: selfish, entitled, uncaring, elitist. Remember who Pelosi is. Pelosi is the woman we saw standing in front of a $25,000 refrigerator eating gourmet ice cream during the middle of the pandemic while Biden says our darkest days are ahead of us. While millions of Americans stood in food bank lines because their jobs were shut down, because their governors and mayors were shutting them down because of the China virus. So now there are a number of things that the various supporters of the president are suggesting that he do. Some say he should veto this bill, as he threatened to do last night. He did not say he was going to veto it. He held out the possibility. There's also the possibility of a pocket veto. Now, pocket veto is pretty much what it sounds like. And it is a way that the president could prevent this idiocy of a bill from becoming law. Pocket vetoes don't happen very much. Congress has to be in the proper parliamentary posture for it to be in play, but that parliamentary posture could very well be existing right now. We could be in those circumstances right now. Under Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution, the president has 10 days, Sundays excluded, to either sign or veto a bill after it has been passed by Congress. Now, got to remember that because of the massive nature of the combo bill, the $900 billion of COVID relief and the $1.4 trillion appropriations bill to keep the government open, the bill has not even been enrolled yet, meaning it has not even been sent to the president, so the 10-day countdown hasn't begun. Now, here's where the pocket veto comes into play. The latest the current congressional session can end is 11:59 a.m. on January 3rd. That's the drop-dead time for the 116th Congress, this current Congress. That's when it ends. A president can, in effect, veto a bill by keeping it in his pocket, by not signing it. He doesn't have to write veto on it. He puts it in his pocket, figuratively speaking, and it just dies there. And if it comes too close to the end of the congressional adjournment, Congress must adjourn without a return date specified, no later than 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, January 3rd. In other words, Congress would have to get the president the bill by today to prevent a pocket veto. If he doesn't get the bill by today, the president could run out the clock on the current congressional session, which would effectively block any potential override attempts. See, you can override a pocket veto. The president doesn't sign it in 10 days. Congress has to come back, and that would be the killer here. Pelosi would have to call Congress back from their vacations over Christmas to deal with this. President would have to send it back to Capitol Hill with a veto. If he didn't do that in 10 days, then the bill would automatically become law. Now, the president didn't outright threaten a veto. It's unclear that the president's demands could even pass the House and the Senate. But it's nevertheless, it's something that a lot of people are recommending simply to, some people want to inconvenience the Congress, force them to come off their Christmas break to deal with this. Remember, as I've been pointing out, attached to the COVID bill is a $1.4 trillion spending package to fund the government through September 30th next year. If the president vetoes the COVID bill and the $1.4 trillion spending package, or if he fails to sign it by December 28th, there's a government shutdown. We still have that to deal with, and the Democrats love when that's on the table. So all of this, as Chad Pergram at Fox News writes, this has the potential to get really, really interesting. And there's any number of ways for the president to deal with this. But last night was classic. Here you have Congress passing one of these typical bailout bills, $600 for the average American. $600 is nothing. As one member of Congress said, it won't even pay 25%. It was Tulsi Gabbard. This won't even pay 25% of the average rent in my state of Hawaii. So Trump vetoes it and says nothing less than a now possible veto. Rips it, says $600, not nearly enough. We need $2,000 per individual, $4,000 per couple. In doing this, here's Donald Trump, the outgoing president, sending a message to the American people, who he is, that even after having been allegedly rejected by the American people, he is still looking out for them. He is still representing them. He is still putting them first. I mean, it would be easy for an outgoing president. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. $600, 600 schmucks, whatever we're going to do, I'm out of here. But no, the president made a point, recorded a 4-minute video, master class in communications, and did something that I don't think there's another Republican on Capitol Hill in the House or Senate who would have done this. But Donald Trump did. He criticized Congress for giving coronavirus relief payments to family members of illegal aliens. They're going to get up to $1,800 each, folks, while you get $600. Trump also pointed out that the bill failed to provide aid to restaurants and small businesses, and that's another thing we're going to get in today. This is just what is happening to restaurants and small businesses in a lot of these blue states is inexcusable. And I've got two different stories today. I've got a story about somebody who was in Florida and was just amazed by how much different life is in Florida, which remains open, from the state she lives in Virginia. This is Ellie Reynolds, intern at the Federalist. I moved from lockdown Virginia to open Florida, and faces came back to life. It was till I came home to Florida, where COVID-19 restrictions are much freer and usually left to local government, that I noticed how different life was. My family went out to dinner the other night at a patio bar overlooking our downtown square, all lit up for Christmas. Families took Christmas photos in front of the lighted trees. Others caught rides in horse-drawn carriages circling the block. The patio was packed with guests from a wedding that had just taken place. It was a huge party, unlike the sweet but limited ceremonies my friends are forced to have in Virginia, where, of course, the governor is Rev Naldum. She says, I've flown in and out of the Orlando airport all my life. I have never seen it half as crowded as it was this month. I can only guess people are coming down to Florida because it's open. People are taking precautions, sure, but they're also continuing to live their lives. We've never shut down like this for any pandemic or anything in the history of our country. She said, we're having friends over, we're going to church, we're going out for dinner and drinks, we're supporting local farmers and artisans, we're celebrating marriages, we're smiling at strangers. Life goes on. Dennis Prager has a similar piece called The Sovietization of California. It's a graphically dynamic piece. So, darkest days ahead of us don't have to be. It doesn't have to be the case. It's all how you decide to live your life. But if you live in a state where they're shutting you down, if you live in a state where you happen to own a small business that is a restaurant or a bar, good luck. Our hearts are with you. I got to take a brief break. We'll continue. A yearly tradition, we wrap up with Mannheim Steamroller and Silent Night. And my ongoing attempts to thank everybody in the audience, all of you, for everything you mean to me. That last call, that's reminds me how much I love all of you, how much I so appreciate everything you've meant to me and my family. You don't have any idea how. I know so many people think this program has changed their lives for the better. You have no idea what you all have meant to me and my family. The day is going to come, folks, where I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't know when that is. I want to be able to do it for as long as I want to do it. But the day will come where I'm not going to be able to. And I want you to understand that even when the day comes, I'd like to be here. So I have this sense of needing to constantly show my appreciation for all that you have done and meant to me. So I hope you all have a great Christmas, a great New Year. And I hope that the things that are in store for all of us in the coming year are certainly better than what we have endured in 2020. I don't know, too many people have enjoyed 2020. Probably some sickos out there who have, but 2021 has to be better. We're going to try to make it that way here at the EIB network. Again, folks, thank you so much. I wish there were a way to say it other than thank you. You're just the best. My family is just the best. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Christmas, everybody, from all of us to all of you. Make it happen.